So thanks to a YouTube comment, it was brought to my attention that my understanding for unstoppable and immune may be misattributed to how I was seeing in-game effects. But the long and short of it is, Bloodmist gives you immune. Immune does not talk about it having any linkage with unstoppable. But when you have this aspect that also says that when you are unstoppable, you gain additional movement speed during and then for 2 seconds after. A chat member brought it up to my attention that, hey, it looks like immune is also gaining you unstoppable. Now, it was a little bit difficult to see in game right away, but I just want to go ahead and do a quick time trial to show you the difference in speed, and we can kind of slow it down. But it's pretty obvious at this point that you do gain the unstoppable tag as well as the immune tag when you're using Bloodmist, even though Bloodmist doesn't explicitly state that you become unstoppable. And just so that you see the reminder text for both of them, immune reads, characters cannot be damaged and all negative effects are removed and prevented. Unstoppable, which are Golem gains when we use their taunt ability, says that characters have all control impairing effects removed and prevented. So first and foremost, you can see how the verbiage is just different between the two and they actually relate to two very different things. One of the key indicators was the unstoppable indicator on the skill itself. So I'm going to use my Golem and you'll see that he gains this broken chain effect. And that means unstoppable for all intents and purposes. Now here's the thing, I'm going to use Bloodmist and you'll see that Bloodmist also has the broken chain, which you might go, well, of course it does. Of course it gives unstoppable. But when we're talking about status effects and how game mechanics work, we have to be very, very explicit and not assume any one functionality, because that will lead to poor itemization, poor skill decision, and you will probably not be getting the benefits that you think that you are. I have a ton of trauma from trying to process how Diablo 2 communicates information in the game and how archaic it is, so I'm trying to be exceptionally careful and not make any leaps of expectation. I'm only trying to look at what the game is saying that's trying to do and trying to prove those things. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do a quick time trial. I'm basically going to run from this corpse, which won't be here in a second, but basically the top of this little mountain range down to the bottom of this book, and then turn around at the book and come back up. I'm going to have a timer running, so I'm going to try to start at 5-second intervals just so it's easier to see, and we can kind of get an idea of how fast I should be going without using any abilities. So let me go ahead and start the timer, and then at 5 seconds, and I'll do my best to be as close as possible. We're going to run all the way down, and then I'm going to run all the way up, and if my understanding, right there. Okay, so about 5.5 seconds roughly is how long that took. It's a little bit difficult to see in real time, but you get the idea, about 5.5 seconds. Now let me go ahead and do the same time trial, but I'm going to use Bloodmist. So let's wait. Started a little bit slow there, but boop, boop. Okay, so we were just below a 5-second count there. We started a little bit late and it took us less than 5 seconds. So I'll do it again real quick just so you can see it, but that's the idea. We are getting a movement speed buff, and then I guess I'll just go over very quickly how it's working in the game so you can have a better understanding of it yourself, and hopefully we can use similar levels of due diligence and testing to be able to prove in-game mechanics moving forward so that we're not screwing up our builds. But let me wait for the 5 seconds, okay? Again, so about 5.5 seconds to get back up to flat against here with the top of the mountain face. Let's wait for the next 5-second interval. Boop, boop. So again, under 5 seconds there, and we've made it back up to the top. So bare minimum, we are going faster. It's actually even kind of easy to see it if you just run in a straight direction with Bloodmist up. So just to show you, this is our kind of run cadence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's how quickly we are taking steps, which is the measurement that I'm using to see velocity. And then we will go through Bloodmist, and basically you won't be able to see it until we come out of Bloodmist, but boop, 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 boop. And then you notice that we slowed down there in cadence. So there again is just an increase in movement speed that is visible in game in a real sense. And then the last thing, and maybe I should have started here, the problem being that this just got me in trouble. The character screen is lying about a couple different things. Hopefully all of that gets sorted out before the game is released. The most notable one was that skeleton warrior, if you put a point into here. So let me just take one out, put one in here. Skeletal Warrior was saying that it increases damage for your warriors, your mages, and your golems, which it does not. And then even furthermore, when you then put that point into other skills that are supposed to give that same 15% damage increase, you'll notice that it doesn't say damage increase with mages. And then lastly, here, you'll see that it doesn't say damage increase with golems. Now, just to very quickly highlight this one as well, and let me stop the timer. That one's giving me a little bit of anxiety. You'll notice that if I take this point out and I look at my golem damage, on sheet, it says I'm doing 35% of my weapon damage, 150 to 184. And then when I put this back in, you'll see that bumps up to 165 to 202. So at least the tooltip is properly representing it. And I have tested in game, you actually do get the damage when you put this skill point in. But that's just another example where the Latin character screen is potentially an issue for Diablo 4 as well. I'm positive that they'll get this squared away before release. After that long tangent, the reason why I wanted to show you all of that is because we can actually look at our run walk speed. And again, I'm not taking any of these values at face value because that's what got me in trouble. But when I have the movement speed here and then I use my Bloodmist ability, you see that our movement speed bumps up. Now, the interesting thing to note here, which is pretty cool, is that when it says 25% plus increased movement speed, unlike in Diablo 2, where bonuses to movement speed, at least actual faster run walk, underwent diminishing returns, it looks like getting the 25% increased run walk speed here just gives you the 25 increased run walk speed, as opposed to increasing your current amount by 25%, which would be a little bit different. And it doesn't appear to be undergoing any diminishing returns, but it is important to note that the character screen says that you have a maximum of 125% movement speed as a basic stat, which says to me that A, there might be things in games which literally say increase your maximum movement speed cap, but you can't exceed this. So there is going to be not diminishing returns in the same way that you would typically calculate them, but there's going to be points where increasing movement speed will not have a benefit. So you may not want to maximize that stat in every single regard, depending on what you're doing in the game or how you're building your character. So that was a long tangent. That was basically just, hey, when we're talking about stuff in the game, I really appreciate it when, one, if I say something wrong, you bring it up to me. Tell it to me. If you've empirical truth or empirical proof, please let me know. We're all trying to figure out this game. And it's, again, it's just like so exciting to be at the beginning of a brand new game where you can be like, hey, I tried out this and it didn't seem to work, or I tried out that and it didn't seem to work. But this is what I live for personally. This is like my most favorite thing to do in video gaming. So again, shout outs to the member in the YouTube chat community that said, hey, I think you're wrong. Here's my proof. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But yeah, I hope that this goes a long way to kind of shed some light on how we should be approaching trying to test the game and trying to work through stuff, find this empirical truth. And while this one's definitely a bit nerdier, I think this approach to the game is going to be super important, especially when it first releases, just so that we can be on the ball and making the best build decisions possible every single time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.